Hi, everybody.
How's it going? Long time no see, Josh.
Welcome to Graphic Dudity.
Graphic Dudity episode. Yeah, that one. Yes.
Episode.
Precisely. It's been so long, don't even remember what episode we're on.
Yes.
But we are here for our end of the year.
Best of
year in review, final encore extravaganza. Yes.
With our friends.
With our friends. Except for that guy.
Gizmo.
So anyways, we're going to start off with a couple different things. Basically our top read list, our top movies, our top TV shows, top video games, and then we'll look into what's coming next year and what we're excited for. So, let's jump right in. Josh, what do you have?
I have my read list from recently. Early this summer, I had to cancel my subscription due to it being a big drain on my bank account. But recently, there's just some stuff that I just had to pick up. Couldn't put off any longer. Unfortunately, I'm no longer reading Invader Zim and The Walking Dead and Manifest Destiny and the ongoing Turtle series, like all these series that I really loved getting every month, but I'm way behind on those now, like months behind. But I did get some new books, finally. They are doing Batman TMNT number 2, a second series.
Coming back. Guess it was popular, huh?
Oh, yeah. You've got, for me, this is like two of my favorite properties ever together. And as you can tell from the cover, who's the big bad?
Bane.
Spoilers. Plug your ears if you don't want to hear this, if you haven't read number 1 yet. Bane gets dropped in the goddamn Lazarus pit.
Oh, snap.
Oh.
I didn't hear what you said, but I assume you dropped some bombs.
Yeah. Also, this is the only one I've read so far, but I got all the Dark Knight issues. Do you know about these?
No, I haven't heard about these. I'm behind on my books, dude.
Oh my god, these are kind of like Elseworld, kind of. It's like, there's so much to get into. But it's like all these evil Batmans that are like amalgamations with, like this one's the Red Death. So it's an evil Batman who gets the power of the Speed Force.
Bat Flash.
Yes.
It's bad Flash. Bad Bat Flash. Say that 5 times fast.
There's like these negative Earths, like these evil Earths. And there's like this one, pretty much like all the Justice League. There's like the murder machines, like evil cyborg Batman. There's Devastator, which is Batman with Doomsday virus. There's a bunch of them. The biggest one is, and they've shown like cosplays of it already, the Batman Who Laughs, which is like Joker version of Batman.
Oh, I think I've seen some cosplays of that. Yeah.
There's like a whole series. There's like a Aquaman one, which is like, it's actually a lady Batman. I haven't read that one yet. If you don't want to read them, go to Variant. He does on YouTube, look Variant Comics and Dark Knights, and he does a good synopsis of each issue, and he'll explain it, and you don't have to take the time to go read it.
Buy every book and stuff.
So I've watched all those, so I know about it, but I want to actually read it, so I've been delving into those. Also, Doomsday Club.
There we go. I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about that.
Oh man, Watchmen are my favorite. It's what the Watchmen movie is pretty much between that and like Kick-Ass and Turtles is what got me reading comics. My love of movies is what got me into comics, and it was mainly like Watchmen.
Yeah.
And so this is tying Watchmen into the rest of the DC continuity. Oh, it's so good. I don't know if I should say anything else about it because there would be spoilers.
To be fair, though, we are getting a TV show, from what I hear. It's supposed to be a reworking of the events that happened in the movie, but it's supposed to be more detailed and in-depth version of the movie, but in TV show form.
Is that on HBO?
It's going to be HBO, I think.
Sweet.
So we're going to have... It's going to be graphic.
I like the movie. So.
I did too. People need to calm down about that.
F the haters, we'll say. And finally read Klaus by the legendary Grant Morrison. And
Grant
Dan
Morrison.
Mora, I love the art in this book. Look at this.
Yeah. Badass Santa Claus, pretty much, right?
Yep. Kind of like a new telling of his origin. Which is, this Batman is cool because he doesn't have reindeers. He has...
This Batman?
This Batman. This
Santa Claus is Batman, everyone. You heard it here first.
I've always got Batman on the brain. I'm sorry. This Santa Claus is better because he doesn't have reindeer pulling his sleigh. No, he has wolves pulling his sleigh.
That's pretty cool. That's
that is
pretty cool.
So much better.
This Batman is way better than the traditional Batman. There's like ghosts and stuff too. Like the art looks pretty good. I definitely dig that art style, and Grant Morrison's just a boss.
Some of it's kind of cheesy, little parts of it, but overall it was really cool, really good. Good story.
It's
very
like
imaginative.
It's like a good cheeseburger, man. You gotta have a little bit of cheese in there for it to be good.
Right?
Exactly. So, for my for my read list, I was kind of just going back and doing a lot of stuff, older stuff. I did go back and do the Jane Foster Thor, which is really cool art, and the story itself is really badass. What else I also read Long Walk to Valhalla, which is a one-off graphic novel about a boy growing into a man and accepting his past, and it's very emotional. A lot more art, story-driven, rather than words telling the story. It's actually very, very deep and fulfilling.
That's heavy, Doc.
Exactly, and that's kind of all I've got right now from this past year. So now we'll be moving into movies.
Actually, I was going to spring this on you.
Oh?
Going back to our old episodes and our old segment, have you played any Pokemon Go lately?
I have been, actually, this last fall semester.
Nice.
I do it when I walk to class, because I walk probably a mile and a half every single day between classes. I'm a level 31, about to hit 32.
Nice.
And I can't recall any of the new Gen 3 Pokemon I got. Look at that. See, I'm only about like to level. The highest CP I have is like 2989 or something like that, and he's got like 4,000 or whatever. But anyways, I'm a casual player. I just find Pokemon that I like and be like, I'll catch you. But otherwise, I haven't been playing a whole lot. I mean, we have a bunch sitting here right now. Gen 3 Pokemon just came out last month, I think.
Last couple weeks, yeah.
Last couple of weeks they came out with all the new Gen 3.
No.
Not all of them, but a good majority of them, as well as a couple new legendaries have been coming out as well.
Yeah, Groudon. Or as they call it in the chat, the Harmony chat, the Carney Harmony chat, everybody keeps... their phones will do like a autocorrect.
Yeah.
They keep saying Groupon.
Groupon.
So now, at least me and some of the other people just start calling it Groupon now. So,
Groupon-mon.
who wants to go do the Groupon at Coke?
Exactly.
So, yeah, my first Groupon was 96% weather boosted.
Holy smokes.
So I caught it at like just under 2,900.
See, I've only done like one group raid, and it was on. Oh gosh, what was it? It wasn't anything like super crazy good, but it's funny when there's like Magikarp on the raids, and
Yeah.
and like there was one time I was doing it because I'm still trying to work on my. He's just a little fat whale.
400 candies. Got that last night.
Hundy.
98%.
It's funny. I'll do the Magikarps just to get the candies and stuff, and there was one guy who hopped in with me after beating it. I just kind of looked over him and I was like, "Man, I wasn't sure about that. I thought we were gonna pull through there." In the end, he's like, "Yeah, that was pretty rough." So.
1000 CP Magikarp.
Oh gosh, that's terrifying. Imagine that Gyarados.
That splash action.
That splash action.
Splash action.
And you are all over the place. Santa Claus, Batman mix up. Like, I can kind of see it because they both come at night and they're both
badass.
but,
Well, this version's badass.
Fair.
Regular, traditional. He's not very badass.
Well, I mean, when you think about all the cookies he has to eat, that's kind of badass. All right. Anything else on the Pokemon Go front?
No, just a lot of cool things. The weather thing's cool.
Yeah, the weather update was kind of nice. I like that.
Yeah.
That boost definitely helps, and also just like I kind of like the new system when it comes to the amount of Pokestops they have that you can get stuff. Because I remember like when it first came out. You were always out of Pokeballs. Like, you were always out of Pokeballs. And, like, getting to a Pokestop there weren't as many, and now there's way more.
Since the last time you've been here, I think there's 2 new stops here in town, in my tiny little town where we're at right now. There's a new gym.
Oh, that's big news.
And so, I mean, if my tiny little town got 2 new stops and a new gym, like Kearney has gotten a bunch of new stops and new gyms.
I was going to say, UNK, my college, in and of itself, we got 2 or 3 new gyms, as well as, 4 new Pokestops. Mm-hmm. So now, I literally will sit in class and just spin Pokestops, between 3, because I'm sitting right on top of them. And I'll sometimes raid while lectures are going on. Stay in school, kids.
If you want to play Pokemon.
If you want to play Pokemon, stay in school because that's got all the good stuff there. Turn that down, Josh. All right. So now we're moving into movies. A highlight of 2017. So, on this list, mine's not going to be number 1. It's just going to be the top 10 favorites. And I might bring one honorable mention in.
I've got a bunch of honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to not mention some of my mentions because I imagine they're on your top list.
Potentially. And I already see 2 of them on there. So, basically, it's just going to be a rundown. This was a great year for movies, specifically franchises, and also standalone films as well. I did not get to see everything I wanted to this year.
Same.
I'll just come right out. The Murder on the Orient Express is my number 1 need to go see right away, as well as Baby Driver, and there's one more. It's probably on your list. No, that's pretty much it. There's a few movies I didn't get to see this year just because of schedules, and also multiple coming out on the same weekend. I can probably only get time for 1 a weekend or 1 a week, so I have to choose wisely. But this was a great year for movies, and let's jump right in with our list. Josh, what's your first one?
Well, I want to do my haven't seen first.
Haven't seen first. Gotcha.
That way we get that out on Front Street. That some of these movies probably would be on my top if I had seen them yet. Mm-hmm. But I haven't seen Dunkirk.
Oh, yep, that's the other one. That's the other one I need to see.
Shape of Water I haven't seen yet. Disaster Artist I want to see really bad. Hasn't come around to our area yet.
That's right, yeah.
The Post. Lady Bird, which I'm going to see next week. It'll be at the World Theater. Coco I haven't seen yet.
I've heard good things about Coco.
I usually don't really get into the Pixar too much in theaters. I'll see them. Usually they show up on Netflix. I'll watch them.
I will say though, I've heard the Frozen short is not short.
The 20.
The Frozen long, I should say.
20, was it 25 or 29?
It's 20 some minutes of cringe. So Disney, please stop with Frozen. Please, just don't. Moving on.
War of the Planet of the Apes I haven't seen yet. Yep. I've seen that on a lot of other people's top lists. Wind River I really wanted to see, never made it. Detroit, The Man Who Invented Christmas.
Detroit looked really good. Dang, I needed to see that too.
Colossal, that's been on a lot of other people's top lists. I haven't seen that yet. And My Friend Dahmer, which I haven't heard a lot about, but I still wanted to see it.
That was in select theaters as well. Not like super big. Like I have an interest in seeing that as well. I've heard good things.
And I did list mine 1 to 10.
Okay. So you're going to start with number 10, then work your way to number 1?
First I'm going to do my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Kong Skull Island was really good.
That was fun.
And Beauty and the Beast was really good.
Beauty and the Beast was surprisingly good. I did have a little bit of an issue with some of the production and auto-tune done on Emma Watson.
Yeah? Really?
She doesn't need it. She has a good voice, but they did so much editing on it. It did not sound well. Did not sound good in my opinion. The rest of it, I loved it. People were a little salty about the CGI stuff with the get over yourself. CGI is going to happen, and it can be done well. And I thought it was great, especially with Ewan McGregor as Lumiere.
I've never noticed any problems with CGI or auto-tune.
I thought it was good though. It was definitely good, and I'm kind of enjoying these live action remakes.
Yeah, I like The Jungle Book a lot.
I still haven't seen that, and it's like on my list of like.
I think it's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix. I just haven't had the chance to check it out yet.
I liked it a lot.
What else you got?
My number 10 was The Founder.
Wait, what's that one about?
It's about Ray Kroc, the guy who started McDonald's.
Oh,
when
that's
he really
right.
just like franchised it out and made it big. The McDonald's brothers really started McDonald's and invented the Speedy system. And it's just, I found myself thinking about it like days after. Like it was just so, like the story of it was like intriguing to me. Like I didn't know how to feel about Ray Kroc and the whole situation because, I mean, without him, we wouldn't have McDonald's as it is now. Mm-hmm. But he also pretty much screwed those guys over and like stole their idea, and so I don't.
It's kind of like how we felt about the, what was it, the Facebook movie.
Oh yeah.
Kind of how
Social Network.
The Social Network. How Mark Zuckerberg kind of just screwed over his friend Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a chance to see that, but I did hear good things about it.
I think it's on Netflix now. I wanted to see it so bad I rented it on Amazon and watched it.
Oh, nice.
And then like 2 weeks later it came on Netflix.
That sucks.
Which I already paid for. So.
Oh well.
I got to see it earlier, so
fair
still
enough.
worth it. What was yours?
Okay, so I'm not going in any order or anything. This is just like movies that I really enjoyed. Hey, how's it going? We're going to start off Star Wars, Last Jedi. I can see why people are upset. It's a movie meant to make you feel uncomfortable, and it is surprisingly similar to Empire Strikes Back. As much as people say it is nothing like Empire Strikes Back, it is very similar to Empire Strikes Back. For one, just like in Empire Strikes Back, our hero has to go to a faraway planet to learn the Force, just like with Luke and Yoda. Then we also have the being chased by the Empire, just like Han and Leia and all them in the Millennium Falcon were being chased by a Star Destroyer into an asteroid field. We got that with the Resistance. There's many other similarities. I know Nerdist put out a video making these comparisons, so definitely look that up. I can see why people are uncomfortable, but the hate is unwarranted. It is a good movie. I do have a few tiny little problems, but I'm not going to get into that right now just because they have a bunch of spoilers and also just it goes very in depth. But I really enjoyed it. I wept a lot, specifically the part with Leia. Those of you who've seen it know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a very, very good film. Definitely go see that. Josh, I think that's on your list too, isn't it?
Yep.
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to it later. But we'll talk about it now.
We'll talk about it.
I remembered the one part where I was like, really? There was only one part. I couldn't even remember it after the movie, but I remembered it thinking about it a couple days later. It was just like one part where like Rey and Luke are like talking, and then all of a sudden they start like having a little battle with each other.
Oh.
And it's really short, and then it ends, and I'm just like.
That was your problem with the movie?
That was the only problem I saw. I was like,
That's your only problem?
Why did that happen all of a sudden and then end so quickly? Like that was the only part I remember being like, eh? Well, that and the Mary Poppins thing.
Oh.
That I was kind of like,
You know.
But then I was like, who cares?
It made sense and it works. I'm happy they did that, but at the same time, before, like when she just sits there and gets spoilers, everyone, when she gets blown up and she's out in space, I was crying so hard. I was furious. I was furious because they said they weren't going to kill her. They were not going to kill her, and then they did that, and I was livid.
Yeah.
Until the next scene when she Mary Poppins her way back to the ship, and I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. But it was also cool because, I mean, we did know that Leia is Force sensitive. Like, we definitely got that in Episode 6, and it's been talked about in a lot of the expanded universe. So it's good to know that, like...
Your dad's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Like, it's not impossible.
And you have to think, over those years, Luke had to have taught Leia a thing or two. So I thought that was a really cool, interesting thing. My problems with the movie are more around Snoke and
I think we'll get more of him.
I really hope we get more, but I feel like he was stupid strong. Like, I want to say stronger than Palpatine with what we saw. He literally force choked General Hux across space through a hologram. Like, that is stupid strong. And he got killed. Star Wars has villain problems. They have villain problems in the sense that they build up all this hype around a villain, and then they're killed, like, so easily. Phasma was another example of this, where we had all this hype built up, even in the trailers and stuff. Like, it looked like, oh, we're getting a showdown between her and Finn, which we got. But I really hope she comes back. I really hope she somehow survived that explosion and stuff.
That was the only one thing me and my wife, and actually you, I think we talked about, because we had a Star Wars marathon before Force Awakens came out.
Yeah.
Every movie, someone falls down a hole. And this one didn't have that. Phasma was the closest thing.
It wasn't falling down a hole.
It wasn't like a hole. Like, there was... Like,
it was kind of a hole.
It was kind of... Not like the traditional Star Wars, like, big tunnel, whatever.
Yeah.
Like...
But no, I agree. There was definitely that, and Star Wars repeats itself, and I guess Phasma was that. But
I didn't really notice all the Empire similarities until you just mentioned it, but it makes sense now.
There are a lot more that they talk about, and like I said, Nerdist did an analysis on how similar The Last Jedi is to Empire Strikes Back. So it is very different tonally, and I can see how they're trying to branch off. We're moving the franchise in a whole other direction. The movie is about letting go of the past and embracing the future, and I feel like that movie made many people it made me uncomfortable. And at first I was mad, but then I got over it and accepted it, and it's going to happen. So anyone that's signing up on that petition to strike the movie, like, you're all a bunch of crybabies. Get over it. We lived through the prequels, okay? This isn't like...
To me, these new ones keep getting better and better with every single one.
I really enjoyed this, and anyone that's complaining like, oh, it's nothing like Star Wars, like, you were probably the people complaining that The Force Awakens was just like A New Hope. So Get over yourself. It was.
Enjoyed it.
It was, but in a good sense, it also had a lot of different elements too. So, Star Wars has always repeated itself. It's always going to repeat itself. So let them. I feel like what Disney is doing is going in the right direction.
What I liked about The Last Jedi is everything I expected of it. It did the exact opposite. Like from watching the trailers and stuff, like I totally expected Kylo to kill his mom like he killed his dad. That didn't happen. I totally expected Rey to show up and Luke was going to train her just like Yoda did for him. That didn't happen. Like everything I expected didn't happen. And that's what I loved about it. I think that's what most people are angry about because they built up these ideas in their heads of like, this is what it's going to be. And then they get there and it's completely different. And
that's the
shatters
uncomfortable.
their perception. But
that's the uncomfortable aspect to it.
I love movies that you don't see what's coming. I love the surprises.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I love Last Jedi. So
good. And
all you haters can back off.
All right. Moving on to the next one.
Go
Jong. Jog on.
My number 9er. Wonder Woman.
Hey, that's my next one too.
Nice.
We can unpack that one a little bit.
Sweet.
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Woman of Wonder.
The first DC movie to get a good rating since Chris Nolan's.
Chris Nolan's Batman. Holy smokes. That movie, I think I saw it 3 times in theaters.
Did you? Nice.
I did. Once opening night, then we went to the Alamo, so we had the dinner and drinks and the movie, and then I want to say I went and saw it with my family or something.
Nice.
Yes, Wonder Woman. Fantastic. Good job to Gal Gadot. Good job to, the director's name. Why? Patty Jenkins. Patty Jenkins, fantastic work. Everything. Most iconic moment, No Man Land scene. Fun fact, that scene almost did not happen. The studio thought it was dumb, pointless, and had no purpose in the film. Patty Jenkins fought her ass off to save that scene. And it paid off. That was the height of the movie for me, was that scene. Ton of emotion, fantastic visuals, and she just wrecked everyone's, like, those dirty krauts. She wrecked everything, and it was probably one of the coolest sequences in the movie for me.
Nice.
That's all you have to say? Nice.
Nice. Well, you kind of summed it up. I don't know if I have anything else to say about the movie. I thought seeing Themyscira was really cool.
That was a cool intro, wasn't it? An island of Amazons all training since ancient times to kick ass.
Yeah.
So, Wonder Woman.
Good flick.
Get it.
Ready for more.
What do you got next?
Lego Batman, number 8.
That's also on my list. So we'll
Nice.
talk about Lego Batman.
Cool.
Lego Batman was super fun.
When I saw the trailer, I was like, this looks stupid. It looked like Despicable Me Batman. I was like, oh, Batman has to watch this dumb kid. This looks so stupid.
But I still
went and
skeptical.
saw it because the reviews were like through the roof. And, oh, man, I loved it. I loved it so much.
It had so many inside meta joke humors, so many just Batman-verse like reference jokes that were just fantastic. It didn't take itself too seriously. Obviously it's a Lego movie, but it had enough drive and heart that it did, like, it surprised me because I went in very skeptical. I was like, just like you with the first trailer, I was like, oh no, we're getting another, like, the Lego movie was fantastic, don't get me wrong, but like, oh no, we're getting one off of a character from that movie. I don't know. And Will Arnett did amazing. He's a great Batman. And just, the story was fun. It was funny. I agree. It was not what I expected.
I'm fighting around. I fight a lot of people. It, like, makes fun of Batman and the Batman universe, which, like, initially, like, torques me off because I love Batman so much, but they do it in such, like, a funny. It's like still like a loving way.
It's respectful of itself, but at the same time, it knows it can make fun of itself
You
because
just
it's
like can't deny it that it's great.
It's had wonky times and all that stuff. Specifically, the part with the different costumes and stuff. Like, there was definite reference to a lot of like earlier Batman works where it was very hokey and cheesy and stuff, and it was definitely good.
If you love Batman, you will love Lego Batman.
Guaranteed. What's next?
My number 7 is Logan.
Hey, that's on my list too.
Nice.
Yep, Logan was the best way to send off Hugh Jackman.
And
Patrick Stewart as well.
Yep.
It was a fantastic send-off. And I'm so glad they went the rated R route because I feel it would have lost a lot of its impact and its emotional tone had it been dumbed down to PG-13. Just like with Deadpool, it would not have had the same effect. But Logan was phenomenal.
Very gritty, very bloody. It wasn't like a superhero movie. It was like a road movie.
It was a road trip movie with.
And I loved that. Everything now is like about team ups and everybody, and this was very stripped down, just a few characters, and it was just. It
fit very nicely into the X-Men universe as well that Fox had been building, and it was the emotional tone in and of itself. I mean, that first trailer with Johnny Cash playing, like, that hit home, and you're just like, this is gonna be good, and it was. First 5 minutes, great way to set the tone of the movie in and of itself. Like, he did like a bunch of guys trying to steal his car, and he brutally kills him, and at the same time you can tell that like this isn't Wolverine like in X-Men Origins or even the X-Men trilogy. He's older, he's tired, and he's gonna hurt, and it's an emotional roller coaster all the way up to the very end.
Yeah.
Very good. Moving on.
Number 6, Batman and Bill.
Batman and Bill.
It's a Hulu original. It's a documentary about Bill Finger.
Oh, I heard about this. I have not seen it.
It's really intriguing, and it makes me hate Bob Kane.
Yeah. I've heard a bit about Bob Kane and how he's not jacked up to all what he's supposed to be.
No, he's really not. Basically, it's a documentary about Bill Finger, who was a co-creator, someone who worked on Batman for a lot in the early days, laid out a lot of what we associate with Batman. Joker, Gotham, Gordon, like all this stuff. Even the look of Batman, like when Bob Kane first originally drew Batman, I can't remember exactly, but he had like no cowl, it was like a mask, and the colors were like red.
It was a weird color scheme, I do remember seeing.
And he had a cape, and it was Bill who was like, "No, we should do the cowl. We should have like a cape that looks more like wings." You know, the iconic look of Batman was created by Bill, and for years he didn't get credit. He died like, I think divorced. No, he might have been remarried at the point. He died like poor, penniless. Like it's a really intriguing story, like seeing what he went through, and then how there's a story about the filmmaker trying to find some of his relatives to try to legally fight, like, hey, can we get Bill some credit on this stuff? And there's like a whole story about him like trying to track down family and hitting dead ends, and then finally finding a relative, and then them trying to battle to get his name on.
Wasn't that a thing with the Dark Knight Rises? They got Bill Finger's name in the credits as credited towards the creation.
I think the first one was Batman v Superman.
Batman v. Oh yes, no, you're right. It was much more recent where there was that drama. I remember Kevin Smith talked about it in his podcast. Now that's where I had heard it that they were fighting to get Bill Finger's name in the credits for that, but
I think Gotham has him credited too. And I think
good.
I've seen it on some comics as well now too. But yeah, he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. And it was just really, another thing that if you love Batman, you need to check this out.
It's on my list to watch now.
Even if you don't love Batman, if you just love comics, because this kind of thing happened a lot. Like, the guys who created Superman had trouble with getting paid and the rights to it.
They were getting paid dimes for the creation of Superman, and now the first Superman comic is millions of dollars, and they still don't get that credit. So justice for Bill.
Indeed.
Check it out. All right. Next on my list. Let's go with yours because it might just match up with what I have, and I'll just hit whatever's left.
We'll look. Okay, yeah. My number 5's on yours too. So
cool.
We'll go.
Number 5.
Number 5 is Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok was the most metal sci-fi thing I had ever seen. So good.
At first, I was very skeptical because you watch a trailer and they're going for kind of like a early 80s, like almost like, I don't know, like heavy metal, Dungeons and Dragons.
It was the colored script and like it was kind of like the clip art text print of Ragnarok itself, and you definitely had that with the soundtrack as well.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, they're just trying to go retro like Guardians or, Stranger Things. I was like, oh, how derivative, how stupid. But still went and watched it, and it was awesome.
I mean, they definitely took a book out of Guardians of the Galaxy and didn't take itself too seriously. Even though, technically, Ragnarok should be a very dark and gritty story about the death of Asgard and characters, but it was fun. It was a fun sci-fi adventure. It should have been what Dark World should have been. The second Thor movie should have been more fun. And Thor, unfortunately, out of all the Marvel franchise, has had some of the worst reviews all across the board. One and 2 did not do well in theaters. Not as bad as Hulk, which I guess isn't saying much. But this one did so well because they changed up the formula. And they also had, what's-his-face in it? Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, yeah.
Who stole the show every time he made an appearance. Every time. And I feel like half of his character wasn't even planned. It was just, okay, here's a couple lines we want you to say. Just get to the gist of it and just riff. And he did. He was so fun in the movie. And the story was good. The acting was great. I mean, we had a lot of big names in there, too. I mean, we had Carl Urban, which I wish we got more of him. He was fun. I definitely liked Valkyrie as well. And seeing Hulk in a totally different light. He actually talks and, interacts with people other than smash. And, it was so much fun.
It was awesome.
And Chris Hemsworth is a great comedic actor.
He is.
Who knew?
He was so bad. Like, watching that, I was just like, oh my god, I want to do Thor cosplays now. I like the Marvel movies, but I don't read Marvel comics. I'm, not really into Marvel that much to where I would be like, oh, I want to cosplay this, because usually when I do cosplays, it's just stuff that I really, really love. But, watching Thor, I was just like, oh my god, I want to do a Ragnarok cosplay so bad.
It's a really simple one, and it's fun, too. That one, it's got enough armor on it and stuff. He was just so fun.
Bloody your eye,
yep.
cut your hair short.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're already halfway there.
Yeah.
So, Thor Ragnarok, fantastic. What do you got next?
Let's take a minute here. Maybe you should talk about one of yours.
Okay. So, next on my list is It. I'm a big horror fan. I love horror movies. Older ones, newer ones. I have a bit to say about some of the newer ones, but It was presented so well, done so well. They took a page out of Stranger Things, and with the dynamic with the kids. And granted, it came out before Stranger Things existed, but they definitely held on to that, and they actually took one of the kids from Stranger Things to be one of the main kids in the movie, and they presented it in a good way. I love how this one focused on the kids' side of the story, and in the next one, which we're supposed to get in 2019, I think, is the sequel, which basically takes the second half of the story, where it's when all the kids are grown up, and they have to fight the monster again. It's 27 years later, and they have to fight the monster. And so this was presented in such a good way, introducing the characters. They changed the time frame in which this took place, because in the book and the original movie, it took place originally in the 50s era, and then when the adults come back, it's in the 80s, early 90s. So this one, they updated it, had it take place in the 1980s, and then technically the adult side of the story will take place in the present day. So I'm super excited to see where they go with the next one. It was scary, it was funny, and that was a lot of things people were kind of upset, well, the clown's not supposed to be funny. I was like, did you read the book? He's totally supposed to be funny. And I mean, I love Tim Curry's representation in the original It movie, but Bill Skarsgård did phenomenal being creepy, being funny, and embodying the character. And fun fact, if you watch the movie, you'll notice he has one eye looking at the camera and one eye looking somewhere else. He actually has a eye condition where he had to undergo a lot of therapy to correct his eyes. So now he can do it on a whim. And so when you watch it, he's always looking at you, but then also at somewhere else. So that adds to the creep factor, and it was a great movie. I loved it.
I never got around to seeing it, but I really wanted to. I'm going to have to check that out.
I'm definitely going to buy it so I can rewatch it, because I had kids talking for most of the movie, which really kind of put a damper on my experience.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Yes. I was actually going to during Logan, because that was another incident. Don't bring your kids to rated R movies. Just don't
bring your kids ever.
Or that too.
If it's a kid's movie, take them to that. But I've had so many movies ruined by little kids lately. It's driving me nuts. I wish they would invent a theater chain that's just adults only. But adults are a problem too a lot of the times too.
Well, that was another thing during it. I had a guy answer his phone in the middle of the movie. Not answer it and walk out. No, he's just like, hey, what's up?
Come on, people.
Hey, how's it going? And that's the thing is, if I go to a kids movie, if I go see Coco or some other Disney movie,
you expect it.
I'm going to expect kids to be there. I'm going to expect little kid things to happen in theater. I've had better behaved kids in Disney movies than I did at It and Logan. Deadpool. Kids running around and talking and jumping all over the seats. No.
Last Jedi, I had a kid behind me who, his dad never told him to shut up, but he was there was a scene with Yoda and Luke, and every time Yoda would say Skywalker, the kid would just say Skywalker. And during the, what do they call it at the beginning with the scroll or whatever?
Oh, the Star Crawl.
Star Crawl, yeah. The dad had to read to the kid. It's if your kid can't read, don't take him to a movie.
Hey, to be fair, the first time I ever saw Star Wars, I also watched it at home. First time I ever watched Star Wars, my dad had to read it for me too.
Wait till it comes out at home. Don't be ruining everybody else's movie.
It's just been very frustrating with a lot of people taking kids to movies that kids should not be seeing, i.e. It and Logan. And just don't or if you do, tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
Tell them to be courteous to others. It's been ridiculous, and that's something I had to fight with It. I had to fight with Logan. It's just absolutely disrespectful.
It's not just kids. It's it seems like every time I go to a movie, there's somebody who's doing something stupid. I can't remember which movie I went to, but their phone rang, and then it rang again later. You didn't silence. You should silence your phone, anyways.
I always have it on vibrate, anyways. So.
And then it rings once, and oh, maybe I should silence this.
It's movie tickets are expensive. You pay $20-$30 for tickets and a drink, and then you have to deal with that, and it just needs to stop. It needs to stop. All right, rant over. Next movie.
Be good at the movies, folks. All right, we're gonna try to talk over the heater. Oh, that feels good.
It does feel good.
It's probably noisy, but
there we go, and it's off.
It's off.
All right, back to it.
Wish it was on. It's very cold right now in Nebraska.
It's a bit nipply. I mean, it's cold.
I think the high today, last I looked, is supposed to be -2 for the high.
-2, and it's been like -15, -20 all weekend. It's fun. It's fine.
Anyways,
moving on.
On to my number 4.
Numero 4.
Baby Driver.
See, I did not have an interest in it until I heard everyone talking about it.
Car movies, I don't care about at all. Drive Angry, Driver, Fast and the Furious 1 through 97. Like, any of those movies, I don't care. I haven't watched them. But Baby Driver, the reviews were so good. Edgar Wright, I have a good track history with liking his stuff. So I went and checked it out, and it was so cool. Like, the way they, just the whole idea of it. Like, the whole concept and how they intertwined the music with the action in the film, and it was just really good.
That's what I heard was the soundtrack was phenomenal, and how it lined up with the cinematography was it was what everyone was freaking out about. Actually, going back to, you said Driver, that movie is not so much about driving so much as the character of the driver.
Is it?
It's
I've heard that's good, but I still haven't been able to buckle down.
I would highly suggest. It's a little long, but I would highly suggest. And surprisingly, like Ryan Gosling.
I like Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling does amazing acting. And oh my gosh, I totally just remembered one of the movies I wanted to see this year, Blade Runner. Oh. I wanted to see that so bad because I love Blade Runner. I love that whole cinematic aesthetic that was built on in that first one, and the second one looked like it followed true. It's like 2.5 hours long. I have not had the chance to sit down and watch it.
I wanted to go see it because I've heard so much about the original and that it's good. So I tried sitting down and watching the original, and I got like 20 minutes into it. I don't know if I was like dicking around on my phone too much, or I didn't. You
really have to sit and.
I wasn't into it. I was just like, eh.
You really have to sit and like pay attention to what's going on. It's a philosophical movie about, is artificial intelligence and robots, are they people too? And the idea of like what makes us human, what makes are humans really human at all? And it's a very deep philosophical question that comes with it. And there's been a lot of sci-fi movies that have embraced this same thing. I, Robot, Ghost in the Shell, all those have had a major impact on because of that movie.
I see.
But Baby Driver, sorry. Off track.
No, Baby Driver was good. I already said what I wanted to say about it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It was good despite Kevin Spacey and what we now know about him.
Yes, that is rather unfortunate and incredibly frustrating.
That's a big topic for another time.
I mean, Hollywood's just been running into all sorts of problems with that. So
music too.
And music, unfortunately, all over the place.
That's a big thinker for a different video.
That's a whole other episode in and of itself. Let's see. I've got another one that isn't on yours. It was on your honorable mention, but it is on mine. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That movie, when the first one came out, I wasn't underwhelmed. I was whelmed. To put it, Wally West puts it. The first one, it was fun. It was pretty good, but people were building up all this hype around it, and I was just like, yeah, it was pretty good. And I love Chris Pratt, and I thought everyone's performances, Dave Bautista, like I love his character as Drax, but the first one was just kind of like, eh. This second one, though, holy smokes, that kicked down the door for emotions, like full of emotions right off the bat. and we got so many different things going on, so many different like subplots within the encompassing plot, and they did it really well. Both Peter Quill and his dad, speaking of which, Kurt Russell, been a big year for Kurt Russell movies this year, and he delivered as Peter Quill's dad, as the Eternal. Like he was great. Ego, the planet, and I thought it was super cool seeing how that was unfolding in his story, as well as the story of the two sisters, Nebula and Gamora. That whole dynamic was very interesting, and we actually got to see some reconciliation there, especially also with Yondu as well. Great send off to his character and how he was affected by the events of the first movie. And
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. Who's that? Is he
Leia.
cool? Is he cool?
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, he's cool. Oh man, and
I'm
so
Princess Leia, y'all.
and that thing, that movie had such like, even though it was fun, it was funny, it was enjoyable. It had a lot of good emotional moments, and probably the number one is the part where Peter's just killed his dad, and he's just broken up about it. And Yondu looks at him. He's like, "He may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy, boy." Like that line, like as funny as that was, at the same time, it just hit home just right. And so that was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, definitely up there in top favorite Marvel movies.
It was good. I enjoyed it, but towards the end, I was just like, "Oh shit, this is Green Lantern."
It kind of was there towards the end. The giant like human going to crash against him, and then it's just Pac-Man. Like it was funny. James Gunn did a great job in
It was
not
good.
being too heavy-handed with it.
It wasn't in my honorable mentions until I thought maybe you'd talk about it. So,
Yep.
yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, but still wasn't top 10 for me. But still, very good.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3. Justice League.
Justice League, what? That actually did not make it onto my list this year. It was definitely in my honorable mentions just because of a couple different things. But Justice League, yes. Tell us about it, Josh.
Well, my list is... There's several different ways to do lists. You can do, what I thought was the best movie. What were my favorite movies. And my list is kind of a mixture of those as far as, like, what I think was, like, technically a good movie and what I was just thrilled about. And Justice League is definitely one I was just thrilled about. So much, when I was watching that movie, I was like, oh.
There's a lot of exciting moments happening and seeing it finally come together.
Like, spoilers, when they're showing the old battle on Themyscira, and there's a Green Lantern, I was like, oh my god.
That was the coolest little just like throw in there, like, oh my gosh, we're finally acknowledging Green Lantern here. Yes!
It was so exciting for me, just that little moment, or the after credits when the boat pulls up to the bigger boat.
And you see
behind the shot, you see the
bandana twirling in the wind, and so as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh no way. And then you see him get off the boat, and you're like, oh my gosh, just give me and at first I was just like, just a small peek at his whole armor, just a small peek, that's all I need. And then they show him coming up, and you see the entire armor piece, and you're just like, oh my gosh! And then you're just like, okay, I'm good. Like I'm already sold on this. I don't need anything more. And they're like, hold on a minute. And then he pulls off the mask, and you see the eye patch, you see the white hair, and you're just like, yeah! Joe Manganiello, like that dude is slayed. And don't get me wrong, I love Manu Bennett. I love what he's done on Arrow in the whole Arrowverse. But God, I'm so excited for this movie Deathstroke, and then it got ruined because Jesse Eisenberg was there.
It's nice to see him involved, though.
Well, we got that a little bit at the end of Batman v Superman, but we did get that I just have a problem. Like, I don't have a problem with Jesse Eisenberg as an actor, but I definitely have a problem with Jesse Eisenberg acting as Lex Luthor.
Hopefully the character swings around.
There is potential there.
We'll see.
We'll see that. But yes, that was a huge moment for me. And the stuff with Superman. Superman was great. I loved seeing what they did with Superman in this. They made him funny. They made him the symbol of peace that everyone was talking about for the whole movie. And that's what a lot of people had criticisms of the previous movies, that he was gritty and unhappy all the time, and like, this was a new light. And don't get me wrong, I love those other movies, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, but this was a new take on it, and I loved what they did with it. Good job, Henry Cavill, and Joss Whedon, and Zack Snyder.
There was just
for what he did do.
So many little points where I was just like, I can't believe I'm seeing this. I can't believe this is going on.
Can't believe this is happening in front of me on a big screen. It's no longer, I don't have to look at a comic book anymore. Now I have explosions and pretty things that move. Like, it was definitely exciting.
And I am so excited for them to hopefully release like the Zack Snyder like extended cut, because I've heard about so many things that were cut from the movie that would have made it so much better. So I'm just waiting with bated breath for that to come
there's
out.
a lot more substance that can be added to it. I mean, that was what happened with Batman v Superman and the Zack Snyder cut of that. It was 3 hours and 8 minutes or something, but it had so much more that added to the overall story. And that's something Zack Snyder does, is he has so much he wants to put in, but unfortunately, the studio wants to edit and cut things out so that it's a more presentable, palatable time for people. But people like me and Josh, like, we love those special extended, like Lord of the Rings, the special extended editions are like 4 hours long. And I will sit there and watch all 4 of those hours.
In a row.
In a row.
One after the other.
I have done that multiple times, and I do not regret it.
This is my weekend.
Exactly. So, Justice League, it could have been on my list, but I felt like I needed to mention some other ones as well. So, speaking of which, Kingsman 2.
The Golden Circle.
The first one was such a beautiful surprise. I knew nothing about it. I was originally going to see something else. It was sold out, so I was like, I'll just go see Kingsman. That sounds interesting. Because I'd seen like one little trailer of it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's like Get Smart, but smarter, I guess. So I went and saw it, loved it. Second one, I love it even more than the first one.
Really?
And I did not think I could. Because the first one was so good. The action was great. The comedy is good. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's spoofing Spy, but still taking itself seriously at the same time. But not too serious that it's James Bond and gritty and Daniel Craig-esque. And it was so fun. And this one did the exact same thing. I started to get a little pissed off when they got to the like American statesman. Like, I was like, man, these stereotypes of Americans are really bad. And then I thought to myself, but wait, the Kingsmen themselves are just exaggerated stereotypes of British people. Touche, I can't be mad about that. And it was so much fun. There was way more action than in the first one, which was really cool, because we got to see so much more cool things what they do with the camera angles and stuff while they're fighting. And like, I love that style where it'll be like wide shot doing this thing, and then as I kick, it goes close shot, and like it just jumping around all over the place. The choreography was great. The music was great. We had a bunch of John Denver songs.
John Denver? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Elton John was in it.
And Elton John was in it, too. And he had a fun role as well. He was, and like, Channing Tatum's in it, but Elton John's in it more than Channing Tatum. So yeah, that kind of gives you an idea. And like, I don't mind Channing Tatum. And his character was pretty fun, too. But great cast. The story is just like the first one, but in America. And it was super fun, definitely enjoyable. So definitely worth checking out.
My number 2 was The Last Jedi, which we already went over.
Last Jedi, yes, we did talk about, and... Okay. We're going on to my second to last, which is Atomic Blonde, which I really liked Atomic Blonde just because we had the same level of like action, super badass, super spy basically, but with Charlize Theron in the lead as opposed to Keanu Reeves like in his John Wick, which John Wick 2 is definitely an honorable mention this year because that was a great follow-up to the first movie. But anyways, back to Atomic Blonde. Super interesting spy espionage film during the Cold War era, and it's actually right at the very end of the Cold War where things are cooling down finally. They're breaking down the Berlin Wall. But there's potential war to break out because someone's stolen some launch codes, and then there's a defector. There's all sorts of crazy just little things that like heightens the like, oh, maybe the Cold War is going to start again, or maybe it's going to break into World War. And it's really interesting acting from Charlize Theron, James McAvoy. Interesting roles they play, and the action is really fun too. So definitely worth checking out. Sweet. And now, for Josh's number one
top movie pick of 2017. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Great little flick
that I've never heard of.
Frances McDormand.
Frances McDormand.
That's her name.
That's her name. The lady who's the lead in Fargo.
She's in it. She does a great job just playing like a nasty, angry mom. Oh! We've already talked about this. But we ran out of storage on the camera. So we're going back and
This is take 2.
This is take 2. We're talking about it again. John Hawkes.
John Hawkes
is in it.
Gotcha.
As well. He plays her ex-husband. Woody Harrelson's in it. Sam Rockwell's in it. And everybody just does a great job of acting. The story, everywhere you think it's going to go, it twists and it goes another way, and you love it even more. It's a story about redemption for a bunch of different characters, and it's great. Oh, the kid, have you seen Manchester by the Sea?
No, it's almost, yeah, I know. My list of things to see, but
he's in it too, and he played the main kid in Manchester by the Sea, and he plays the son of Francis's character in 3 Billboards. But yes, great movie. It was playing up in Fremont when I was up there working. I was so surprised that it was playing. I was like, oh, I gotta go right now. Because I'd seen the trailers, and I just knew it was like the kind of movie I like. And I checked out the reviews. The reviews were great. And I just couldn't believe, because like usually smaller movies like that don't come to
a lot of our smaller town theaters.
So I definitely hopped on that
Nice.
ASAP, and it paid off big because I loved it, and it was awesome.
Fair enough. All right, and for my final entry in Best Movies of 2017, I will give it to Spider-Man: Homecoming. Yes, that's right. Another superhero movie, right? Another franchise superhero movie. And
I see a pattern here.
Somewhat. I was trying to get a mix of everything, but Spider-Man: Homecoming I had to pay some homage to just because of Tom Holland's portrayal of Peter Parker in Spider-Man. That kid, I love Sam Raimi's and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. But gosh, this kid has got it. He's nailed it. He's more New Yorker than most New Yorkers. This kid's from England, and yet he's still like, he was spot on. He was so good. The action was great. We had a good villain with Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton just kills it in everything he does, and he was great. I mean, Vulture, like, he's not like big name Spider-Man villain, but he's still a good Spider-Man villain to start off with.
He's one of the Sinister Six.
He's one of the Sinister Six, which was going to be played up in the Andrew Garfield universe, but that's gone forever now. this new one, he was so much fun. He was an interesting villain. He had a reason for what he was doing. Granted, it was kind of in a moral gray area. He was doing what he thought was best. And so that just made for an interesting villain to fight. We got Peter Parker when he's in high school, which we kind of got a little bit of both in the other two iterations. But like this one, we like kids still in high school. And it
delved into it a lot more and felt a lot more real. Like Tobey
Really
Maguire walking down the halls getting picked on didn't really feel like a real high school experience.
Because he was like 20, 30. He was old. But like this was so strong. And also with Peter Parker's relationship with the Avengers and that whole story with Tony was very, very interesting. So I will give it to Spider-Man Homecoming.
It was on my honorable mentions, and I don't know. It probably would have been top 10, but I wanted to mention some movies like The Founder and
Non-franchise movies.
Lego Batman and Batman and Bill. So
fair enough.
Really good. I liked it a lot too.
All right. So shifting gears into our top
TV shows
of 2017. So, Josh, I didn't get the chance to watch as many TV shows as I usually do, so my list is a lot shorter, but it's got some good things to unpack here. So, Josh, why don't you start off since you have 10?
First, my honorable mentions. I had a really hard time narrowing these down.
I was going to say, you have a huge list there.
Yes. A lot of people say we live in the golden age of TV, and I'm really starting to believe that with as much good television as going on right now. So my honorable mentions, it hurt me to not put Preacher in the top 10.
That's a good one. That's tough.
It was just eked out by stuff I wanted to talk about more. Master of None was a great show. Aziz is hilarious. That show is amazing. Goldberg's is always so good. I love Goldberg's so much.
I've heard so many good things about Goldberg's, yeah.
Growing up in the 80s, early 90s, this really hits, Goldberg's hits really close to home, and the writing of it just cracks me up all the time. F is for Family was a good show. I love Bill Burr. Wet Hot American Summer, first 10 years, that was good. Punisher's on my honorable mentions. American Vandal, which was the most watched Netflix show of the year, I guess.
Really? I haven't watched it, so that's surprising.
You haven't watched that?
Nope.
Oh, it's so
like I said,
good.
I also haven't been watching many TV shows, so fair enough.
Curb Your Enthusiasm. The return of Curb Your Enthusiasm was awesome. Comic Book Men, I always love watching. It's like nerdy Pawn Stars.
Pretty much, yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine's always hilarious. So those are my honorable mentions. Now to what is the cream of the crop, the best of the best.
Made the cut.
My number 10 is a movie It's a TV show that's just been recently airing. It's still airing. It's not over yet. A little show called Happy.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what that is?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's on Sci-Fi. It's based on a comic by Grant Morrison. It's about this cop who he's like he used to be like a hero cop. Now he's fallen from grace, and his daughter that he didn't know about. Spoilers. I should have said that before.
Now I've seen the whole show. Thanks for that, Josh.
Well, they reveal it in the first episode.
Oh, okay.
It's a major plot
That's
point.
not a spoiler. That's if it's in the first episode, it's safe to say it's not a spoiler.
But his daughter, which he didn't know about, gets kidnapped by this like evil Santa guy, and her imaginary friend, a little unicorn.
Oh, now I know what this show. It's the little stupid unicorn thing.
Stupid.
He's a stupid unicorn.
He is kind of stupid, but it's Patton Oswalt, so it's less stupid.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. Patton Oswalt is a pretty solid guy. I'll give you that.
But imaginary friend, the unicorn, Happy, comes, finds the dad, and now they're trying to go find the daughter. And it takes place around Christmas, and it's been really good, like, Christmas viewing lately.
Okay, so it's a Christmas show I should watch. Got it. Oh, now I gotta wait till next year.
I think there are only 4 episodes in, maybe 3 or 4 episodes. But I've been watching them after they air. Gotcha. It's really good. The guy who plays the cop, I can't remember his name, but he was on. Have you ever watched Wet Hot American Summer?
Yeah, I watched that.
He's like the cook.
Oh my gosh.
He's so good.
He's a funny guy.
In Wet Hot American Summer and in Happy.
Good.
Both really good. It's really dirty. There's a lot of violence, like a lot of like sex alluded to. It's funny. It's like all the stuff I love.
Okay.
It's good.
Fair enough.
It may look stupid. In fact, I remember seeing like the comic at comic shops, and I'd be like, "What is this? No thanks." But now watching the show, I'm loving it. I might have to backtrack and start reading the comic.
Do it.
So that's my number 10. Number 9, Baskets on FX. Oh, it's about.
I don't have TV also, so that's kind of part of it. All my shows are from Netflix, for the most part.
Zach Galifianakis plays like a failing clown. He like went to France, went to clown school, and he comes back home, and he has to take a job being like a rodeo clown.
Okay.
He's homeless for a while. He's got this twin brother who's like more successful, and he's got this friend, this like really quiet lady, and she's hilarious. And then Louis Anderson plays his mom, which is extra hilarious. It's just a hilarious show, and I love it.
Okay.
Number 8. I'm sure this has been on my top 10s from years past. It's Last Man on Earth.
Yep. Yeah, you've been following that one really close, and I know you deeply enjoy that one. I have yet to have a chance to watch that.
At all?
At all. Oh, Josh, I told you, like, shows have not been my thing this year. Like, yeah, I know. And I know.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
You cry it out.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll get over it.
I pity you for not having Last Man on Earth in your life.
I've had a lot of shows not in my life this year, so that is fine. I'll get over it.
But it's just continuing its greatness. There's been a lot of Kristen Wiig's in it now.
Yeah, I've heard she's doing good thing. She's doing the Lord's work over there.
Spoilers. 3, 2, 1. Jack Black makes a tiny little.
Oh, no way! I love him. I love Jack Black. All right, I'm all in.
It's a good cameo too. I'm laughing about it just thinking about it right now. But yeah, it's just continuing its greatness as a hilarious show. Number 7. Man Seeking Woman, which actually did not get renewed, which amazes me because I love the show. It's so funny.
I heard about this show. I did hear about this one.
I don't even know how to describe it. They like deal with human relationships in such a weird, funny way. Like I don't even know how to describe it. Just go watch it.
Who's in it?
Jay Baruchel or whatever that guy's name is.
What's he in?
He's been in a lot of Judd Apatow stuff. He was
okay.
What else has he been in? Oh, he does the voice of How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh yeah. He's Hiccup.
Hiccup?
That's right. Yeah, that is right.
That's him.
That's right. I do know. I remember the show now. Yep.
And then Eric Andre, I think's his name.
Eric Andre. Oh, he's so funny. His show on Adult Swim is out of control.
So yeah, just imagine those two together with hilarious writing, just totally spinning what. Like I said, I don't even know how to describe what they do and why it's great. It's just amazing.
Gotcha.
Number 6, Stranger Things Season 2.
Hey, that's on my list too, so this is perfect. That was a great follow-up season.
I'll let you talk about it.
Let me talk about it?
Since you've only got 5 on your list.
So, I mean, Stranger Things, as we know, is just a big ball of nostalgia, all that, like, soundtrack to setting and characters, all of that, fantastic. This one took that, and they kept the same formula, pretty much. Just like, let's throw in these subtle nostalgia things. And a lot of people criticize, like, oh, it's just nostalgia porn. Like, that's why we watch it, but also the writing is good. We had a lot of really interesting, creepy things. There was a lot of, like, I feel like there was a little more scarier parts than season 1, but at the same time is a lot of the mystery and, like, evil government agency kind of hype and mystery surrounding the what do you call it?
Demogorgon?
No, just the conspiracy behind everything.
Oh.
And then also more in depth of the Upside Down, specifically the big giant dark, I can't remember, the Mind Flayer, that's what they called it. And that was super interesting, and you can tell, especially with the way we ended up, we're getting a whole bigger universe. We're getting another obviously we're getting another season, but I think they signed on for 2 more, and then they're ending it. Which is good, because I can appreciate they have a plan of where to take the show, and they're not going to just run it dry like some other shows where they just kept making, like Supernatural, or on season 12, and the show is just like, we don't have an end idea, but we're just going to keep making these. So, like, I can appreciate that they have a plan in place, and they're not going to oversell it. I do have a small problem with one of the episodes. I know some people, they either loved it or they hated it, but the episode where we follow 11 into Chicago, where she meets Cully, which is episode 7, I believe. That episode was so out of place. It was so weird. All we got was 11, which, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with getting a whole bunch of 11, but that was kind of what made the show interesting, as we jumped around to all the different characters and to what they were doing, and it just kind of brought everything that was happening in that season to a halt, a grinding stop.
I remember spacing out during that.
And
I didn't really pay attention to that episode much.
And, like, I like Cully and, like, everything that, like, the potential of, like, other powerful mental, like, telekinetic. She basically could manipulate people, like, their senses. They could see things. And so, like, I found that really interesting, but it just brought all that momentum the show had and just brought it to a stop for her to go through that. And so I wasn't a fan of that, but the rest of the season was solid for me. What about you?
I loved it. And, what's his name? Samwise Gamgee.
Oh, Sean Astin.
He was such a great addition to that.
He was. And
same with, was it Mad Max? What's her name?
Oh, yeah, Mad Max, the little ginger girl. She was a nice introduction.
Jerky big brother guy.
Yeah, her brother. He was super fun. I thought we were going to get a little more from him, but he was super fun throughout.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. Like, I got no complaints.
Perfect. Good. All right. Moving on with Josh's next one.
Number 5 for me is Gotham, which a lot of other Batman fans I know don't like the show. Which I can see some of it's a little out of character for some of the characters, like Jim Gordon and stuff, but I just love seeing, like, the Mad Hatter and Professor Pig, like, all these characters that you only ever see on, like, pages.
We got, like, C-list villains going here, C and D-list villains even, which you never see.
Like, at most you might be lucky to see them brought to life in, like, an animated version, or, like, the Arkham games or something.
The Arkham games. We got Mad Hatter in Arkham City.
And so to see them, like, live action is just so thrilling for me. And I think they nail a lot of these characters really well. Like, they've had Mr. Freeze lately. The guy who
I've heard about him. I've heard about the Mr. Freeze arc has been very interesting.
It's just all over, like, all around a good show. And
it's on my list to watch. I'll get there.
They've been bringing, like, Sophia Falcone. I think it was Sophia. But, yeah, the daughter of the
Oh, the Falcone family. Gotcha. Cool. Interesting.
That's been brought in, and Penguin's still around. Fish Mooney is no longer around, thankfully.
Yeah, I did hear about that as well.
That was a character I didn't care for, but overall, Gotham, I just really enjoy just to see the new characters that they bring to life.
All right.
Number 4, I kind of blanketed. Because I didn't know which one to choose. I just wrote down the CW Arrowverse. Because Arrow was the first one I got into. I still watch, but I feel like Flash is a better show. Like technically
as do many people. I mean, that's Kevin Smith's thing, is he'll always go back to Arrow, but Flash is where it's at.
But Legends of Tomorrow is probably my favorite because it's like time travel-y, history nerd type pop culture references with, superhero stuff. Like Legends is probably my favorite. So I don't know where to
just got to stick it all in there.
Just like I'll take it all.
That's fair, because they cross over so much they could be considered each other's show as well. So I'd accept that. I'd buy that.
And I mean, the highlight of every single series was. Wow, did you hear that?
Whoa! I don't know if that picked it up, but that was loud. It was like a thunderstorm in there.
It's a rumbly in my tumbly like Winnie the Pooh. But the highlight of all of these series this year has been the Crisis on Earth X crossover event between those 3 shows and Supergirl, which I don't regularly watch Supergirl, but it's still good. It's got some good stuff. But, oh man, Crisis on Earth X was so amazing.
I heard everyone was freaking out about the events going on, and I was like, well, I have a lot of catching up to do, so I'll get there eventually. But nice.
I wish we could talk about it, but...
That's a whole other episode, probably.
Yeah.
So, my number 4 is actually an anime I've been watching called My Hero Academia. And it's basically about a world where 90% of the population has something called a quirk, which is like a superpower. And it ranges from anything as minute as I can use my tongue to pick things up from far away to I can literally control the elements of fire and ice in the same body. And so like it follows this kid who is born without a quirk. And he's heartbroken, and it's a very emotional first episode because you can see how badly he wants a superpower and how badly he wants to do good and help people. And he has this idol called All Might, who's this all around like super strong dude, and he's super cool. He's got like this crazy hair that like goes up like bunny ears, and like he's always smiling and just kind of like a beacon of hope for the people. And he finds a way to get a superpower. And it's actually through All Might, who actually takes him under his wing and kind of is showing him like what it means to be. And it's all about him going to superhero school. It's like Sky High. Remember that Disney movie, Sky High? Oh. Anyways, it's all about this high school for superheroes and how they learn to control their powers and stuff. And it's very interesting just because we get this dynamic of what it really means to be good and use the power, the gift you've been given for good, and how even people who have very minute and like not like you wouldn't think that would be useful, how they are extremely useful. So it's basically just about how any gift you have, is even as minute as it is, can be used outside of the box. And it's a very good show.
Nice.
What you got? Number 3.
My number 3, which looks like it's your number 2.
It is.
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty Season 3, baby. Finally. Holy smokes, that took forever.
Right?
God.
And I hear it's going to be a real long time for
It's going to be like 2.5 years probably for Season 4, but Rick and Morty this season was great.
A lot of fun moments. It's just a hilarious, really well-written, like, smart show.
It's smart in the sense that the humor it's not just your traditional fart humor, but it just takes things and puts them in different directions, and it also goes to really dark places. Specifically, that one where there's the multiple universe of Rick and Morty's, and what happened here, officer? Oh, same as any other day. Morty's killing Morty's, and like that episode was really messed up, but really funny. And this season didn't really go anywhere different. Didn't do anything different. Kind of stayed true to what it is as a show, and I think they did really well.
When I watch it, I find myself thinking about my own psychology a lot. Like, when I see how,
destructive.
Yeah, like everybody's Rick and Morty, and like everybody's got like their own little. I don't even have the words for like.
They have their own persona and their own they all have their own like mental baggage that they're all carrying around. Like the divorce thing that's been going on since last season. There was some pretty rough stuff that was happening there, but like it's a weird emotional show, but it's still funny.
It makes you think a lot about. To me, I end up thinking about like life and like, cause like Rick's always talking about like this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It doesn't just make me laugh. It makes me think a lot.
See, I will make a suggestion for you. This isn't on my actual list, but it definitely should have been. If I was going to top 10, this would definitely be in my top 10 list. But BoJack Horseman, especially this last season, did do some very different things. It did take this new season took some risks and went to different places. And the show has really changed from that first season we got to what it is now. And it's all just exploration of the characters' psyche, the mental struggles they're going through, and how they're discovering who they are. And the writing's spectacular. Like, if you love puns, that show is for you. BoJack Horseman is for you. If you like animal humor, there is tons of that, just all over the place. Like, one of the characters is a dog, and he is very much like a happy, like, everything's great, I'm a dog, what's going on? Like, fantastic. The voice acting's great. Will Arnett is BoJack. Then we've got tons of cameo appearances from other actors and actresses and stuff, and that show makes you think about like you as a person is like, wow, their life is really shitty. Maybe mine isn't so bad, but at the same time, it's making me think like maybe I should take care of myself more. It's a very good. It's a challenging show, but it's funny. It's good. So I would suggest that for you.
Woohoo! I'm gonna have to check that out. My number 2 is a Netflix original.
It's on my list of things to watch.
Mindhunter. Oh, I can't wait for season 2.
Everyone has been talking a lot about Mindhunter.
It might. If my number 1 didn't have so much history with its previous seasons, this might be my number 1. Mindhunter might be my number 1.
Gotcha.
It was so good. Just so interesting. Like, just watching. There was one episode where it's about these FBI guys. The guys who, like, first started studying serial killers. And they're sent to this local police department to help them solve a crime. And initially they just get like a phone call describing the crime, and it was just amazing to me watching them. They get the details and I'm like, oh well, the guy, it must be a man between this age and this age because of this, and he's probably this because of that. Just like
the psychology behind a criminal.
Just like how like Batman's a great detective. That's part of what I like about his character.
It's very Sherlock Holmes as well. Very Sherlock Holmesy.
Like they hadn't even been to the crime scene, and they could, just from the details, they were able to, determine, oh, it's probably this guy, and they end up being right and catching the guy, and it's just interesting. It's another one of those psychology things. Like, they were first ones to study these people and find out about them. And what they're trying to do is to kind of make profiles to help solve crimes and prevent crimes. And it was just really interesting.
Gotcha.
And really well made. David Fincher directed some
David
of the episodes.
Fincher is phenomenal director. Where everything he touches is more or less gold. So
Well, that was something else that I noticed, like, watching it. Like, he's got such a style, but he didn't direct every episode. So it's just amazing to me how other directors can, like, step in, like,
they emulated his
and like still make it fit and feel cohesive. Like, that's always amazing to me. Like, oh, you're gonna step in for David Fincher, and it's somehow still gonna be just as good and have the same feeling and tone and everything. So yes, Mindhunter, great.
Good. So mine is Punisher, Marvel's Punisher on Netflix, and right now I have actually not finished this show yet. It is.
Really?
I am nearly there. I think we have 3 episodes to watch, and oh my gosh, like, I fell in love with the Marvel superhero movie shows with Daredevil. First season of Daredevil, you get to that hallway scene and you're hooked. The action was spectacular. Story was pretty good too, but the characters were good. The action was great. Punisher is the first time I have been fulfilled in action, in character, and story. And it's presented in such a way that you're not getting just all action, gun porn all the time. You actually get into the psyche of what makes Frank Castle, and what has happened to him that makes him who he is. And so you get a lot of introspective things, but at the same time, you have all these other interesting characters. And it's continuing off of kind of the things that are happening in the Marvel TV show universe, but it's not integral to it, because they've been building up to Defenders, and all the other shows kind of like converged, and Punisher is separate. It makes reference to other things happening, but you don't really get it meshed into the other. It doesn't bleed into the other ones, and you get such a good, not only commentary, but an exploration of veterans and coming back from war, and oh my gosh, the emotional scenes you get associated with that. You wouldn't think a Marvel show would make you like cry or like get like brokenhearted over things like that, but it challenges it and it presents it in a respectful way, while also like setting out like we need to help these people. There's a whole like subplot going on that I don't know why it focuses on it, because it doesn't really necessarily further the plot, but it's another thing kind of happening. There's a support group for veterans who have been injured, who have not come back fully mentally sound, a lot of PTSD, and they all talk and help each other, and there's a whole conversation underneath all the entire show. It's just out of place, but it works, and it's interesting. And
I thought it had a really good place. I actually had a friend who said he didn't want to watch Punisher because of all the real life violence that's going on, and he's like, I don't want any more of that in my life right now. And I told him, like, well, actually they do a really good job of addressing.
Yes, they do with this show. It is you'd think Punisher, it would just be guns and explosions and mindless violence all the time. There are moments where you see that, but you don't see it as like a good thing. Because there's a part where Frank is
worshiping it.
Yeah, it's not a glorification of it. It is this is like, it's horrible what we're having these people, forcing these people to do, and it's like we need to take care of them. And it's very different from what I thought they were doing when they said they were doing Punisher, and it's a good thing. And like I said, I haven't finished it. I don't think I've had a single bad episode out of all of them. And there was one part, though, that needed a little bit of polishing. There's a car chase in like episode 3 or 4. It was the most boring car chase I've ever seen, and it did not make sense at all, because it was literally just him and the FBI agent like playing chicken and on an empty road, and there was like Where are the rest of the cops? They're basically just, it was like there was two cars just going back and forth chasing each other on an empty side street. It was dumb, but the rest of the show, spot on. The action is intense, but it's not like I said, like over glorification of violence. It's got that, but it serves a point.
Yeah.
And the characters are super interesting. Like there's too many to talk about individually, so just definitely go see Punisher.
Check it out. Probably the best. Well, I don't know if it's best reviewed. For me, I think it's probably my favorite so far of the Netflix.
It is definitely.
Except, well, I like Daredevil Season 2 a lot.
Daredevil Season 2 was good.
That one, it's weird. The ones I enjoy the most are the ones that get ripped apart by the critics more.
Yeah, no, definitely. Except for Iron Fist.
We'll get into that later. My number one TV show, 2017, is probably, once again, I'm sure it was number one.
It was last year.
Fargo!
Yep.
I love Fargo. This year, Ewan McGregor.
I heard, yep, he makes an appearance.
He plays twin brothers, which he did great on both. They even bring a character back from season 1 into season 3, and it's just always like a great mix of like dark and comedy and like crime and like interconnecting like stories, and Fargo's is just always great, and it's
on my list of things to watch. I love the movie, and I really want to watch the show.
It's just continuing its legacy of greatness.
Yep. And so my number one TV show, well, technically this isn't even in a specific order. These are just my favorite from this year.
Oh, well then I renege my drum roll.
Yeah, renounce it. Take it back. Samurai Jack. I loved, when I was a kid, watching Samurai Jack was one of my favorite shows. I loved Samurai Jack. And finally being able to see it get like some sort of closure, because we never got that closure. We got 3 seasons, 3 fantastic seasons, and no resolution whatsoever. I remember there was plans for a movie to sum up the rest of the story, kind of like Serenity finished Firefly, but the voice actor of Aku, the main villain, died, and so Jandy Tartakovsky, something Russian, he didn't want to do it out of respect for him, but now it's been a couple years. He's ready to finish it. Finished it. The action was spectacular. The animation is just perfect. Phil LaMarr is the voice of Samurai Jack. He does spectacular in playing.
Phil LaMarr?
He does spectacular playing old Jack, and the overall show was very well written. Very reminiscent of the original show, but also just bringing some new things. The only episode I really had a problem with was like the third to last one, where they threw in a love story with one of the female characters who was a daughter of Aku, who Jack turned over to the good side. It was the most forced and cringy thing I have ever watched. But the rest of the show is spectacular, phenomenal. The sound design and the soundtrack is amazing, just like the original show. And so this was a great way to finish out the TV series.
Cool.
And that's our TV shows.
What about disappointments?
Disappointments. Iron Fist. Iron Fist. I wanted so bad.
Defenders.
Defenders not as much. I just hated how much we had to throw in Danny Rand, how important he was, and how garbage he is.
It was like Iron Fist Part 2.
It literally was Iron Fist Season 2.
Iron Fist plus these other guys.
I wanted to like Iron Fist. I watched the entire thing.
I was into it the first couple episodes because it was just Green Arrow ripoff.
It was green. Well, it was very reminiscent of the Green Arrow, but like, it was just the guy who played Danny Rand was all over the place as to what that character was.
There's just nothing, like, I can't like him. I don't know what, I don't think he's a
There's
bad
nothing
actor.
to like about him. There's nothing to like about him. He's terrible. And then there wasn't enough action, for one. When there was action, it was like the worst choreographed. He's a kung fu master. This should have been better than Daredevil in regards to like action fight sequences. But you'll notice in Daredevil we have 1-minute fight sequences that are all one shot, one take. In the Iron Fist we had like, I remember there was like a 30-second fight sequence that had 20 cuts. As in 20 different camera angles, 20 different... It was awful. It was not fun to watch. It was a nightmare. And it was... the story wasn't even that interesting. The characters were all garbage human beings. All of them. Every single one of them. Even Kylene... in gray. Alright, so we have talked about our favorite movies, our favorite TV shows, our favorite video games,
our favorite candy bars.
Twix. Brought to you by Twix.
For all you Seinfeld fans. Twix!
We've talked about everything about this year, but now it's time to talk about what is coming up. So, here is our next list of what we're looking forward to in 2018. Josh, what is the number one thing you are looking forward to this next year?
Shit. Number one?
Like, you are super stoked, you need it right now. If you could make a wish to a genie and ask for one thing right now, what would that thing be?
Wizards Unite!
The new Harry Potter Go. Pokemon Go, basically Niantic.
Let me read it to you.
Here we go.
Harry Potter Wizards Unite, a mobile game adventure inspired by J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, is coming soon.
Basically, it's like Pokemon Go, but with wizards and magic.
Uses state-of-the-art augmented reality. Smells like candy bar.
We are now the video cast where people eat into the microphone. Good job, Josh. We've made it.
Alright. Harry Potter Wizards Unite uses state-of-the-art
augmented
reality technology to reveal the magic all around us. Explore real-world neighborhoods and cities to discover mysterious artifacts.
Expecto Patronum!
Learn to cast spells.
Yeah.
And encounter legendary beasts.
So we're going to be capturing beasts like in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
And iconic characters along the way. So yes, something I already like, Pokemon Go, mixed with something else I already like, Harry Potter. Should be awesome.
This is a wet dream for you because you like Harry Potter way more than you like Pokemon. You didn't even like Pokemon when Pokemon Go came out.
This is all your guys' fault.
You're welcome. I've created a monster.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm looking forward to most, right, as of right now, I mean, other than, like, more Star Wars, which the Han Solo, that whole thing, that's going to be a whole other episode, but basically I'm a little nervous about it. But my number one right now, Black Panther. Holy smokes, did you see that trailer? Oh my gosh. Right now...
Looks intense.
Dude, it's going to be so good. Right now they've released that the current cut of the film is 4 hours long. Yes. So,
What?
I would totally buy a ticket to a movie that is 4 hours long. I would totally do that.
2 movies for the price of one right there.
Exactly. Black Panther Part 1 and 2. But no, I would totally watch that. And if they don't come out with a 4-hour cut on DVD or something, I will be upset. Because I will watch the crap out of that. Anyways, I am super looking forward to that. I mean, everything Marvel's been coming out with recently has been gold, in my opinion. I mean, we're getting Ant-Man and the Wasp later on this year. We're getting Infinity War, which is another thing I am super stoked about. Everything Marvel's going to be coming out this year is going to be super good. I'm super stoked for all of it.
With Marvel anymore, I'm not... Like, I know I'm going to. It's just like a default. Like, I'm going to go see that.
Yeah, it's a default. You have to.
Never anything. I'm never, like, super excited about any of it anymore. I don't know why. I'm just like, oh, there's another one. I'll go see that. But I'm not really...
It's ingrained. It is your favorite movie. Whether you like it or not, it's your favorite movie right now.
Last trailer I watched for Black Panther. It seems like they were kind of going for that retro beep boop beep boop beep.
Well, and that's the thing is Wakanda, the fictional nation that exists in the Marvel universe, was closed off from the world. Like, they closed their borders. What
else are you hiding?
Yeah, and because they did that, they didn't have any wars. They didn't have everything. They had everything they needed. There was no need to export or anything. Their economy thrived because they were just producing everything they needed, and so they got this huge scientifically advanced society, utopia basically, and then they've come back to the rest of the world and they're like, hey, we're a thing. Remember us? Oh, by the way, we have all this cool tech and stuff. So it is very cyberpunk-esque, but at the same time, like, we have these strong African roots. We got all these cool... I mean, everyone's, like, got a cool, like, animal name and things. And, oh, my gosh, the transformation when, what's-his-face, he pulls out the blades and then his whole costume falls away and he's wearing this super badass art. Like, I am so ready to see that. It looks fun.
Jacked.
Dude, he got ripped.
He might have got jacked, or wasn't he in Creed or whatever?
He was in Creed.
He might have previously been jacked.
Oh no, he was already jacked, but he is even like more jacked. He's looking good. And then we've got what's his face, Smeagol, Caesar, Andy Serkis, who like Snoke, dude's solid in everything he does. We're getting him back, so I'm super stoked to see him again, and it's gonna be a fun ride. And honestly, I think it's probably gonna be. It's going to be my new favorite until Infinity War happens, and then even then, it still might not even live up to that. So the hype for that is real for me. Josh, what do you got coming up that you're super stoked about?
I'm also really stoked for... I had to look it up to make sure, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is supposed to come out in 2018. I love that.
The first game was spectacular, and all the extra content they came out with afterwards. I mean, it's Grand Theft Auto in the Wild Wild West. I mean, what don't you like about that?
Right.
Like, I do have a soft space in my heart for westerns, and that was definitely fun. And especially now we get a prequel to everything that, what's his name, John Marsters was going through.
Yeah.
What else you got, Josh?
I had a bunch of things. So, if you want to do your next big one, and then we'll go through all the little ones.
My next big one, Incredibles 2. 14 years I've waited. 14 years! We're finally getting Incredibles 2. That was it probably still is my favorite Pixar movie of all time. How's that Twix treating you?
How many Twix is that for you today? Like 8 Twix?
Yup. Probably.
No.
More than 12.
Seinfeld.
Yeah. But Incredibles 2, the first one was probably my absolute favorite, from the story to the characters. The soundtrack was spectacular. It was like a mix of like James Bond spy theme with superhero epic music. It was all around my favorite and totally underrated. And then now we have finally gotten Incredibles 2, and it's now been released that the events in this movie take place immediately after the events in the first Incredibles. So it's picking up right where it left off. We're probably going to be seeing a lot more growth with Dash and Violet and Jack and all the different kids. I'm interested to see what more they're going to do to build up the universe. And they're probably going to make it a franchise because, what is it, we're getting Toy Story 4? Like, stop. Like, Toy Story, like, it ended so well. You don't need to make another.
How many stories do these dang toys have?
These dang toys and their dang stories. There's too many. But anyways, yes. No, Incredibles 2. I'm super looking forward to that.
Somebody explained to me why they do a lot of, like, Cars 3 and...
It was all the toy merchandise.
What they said was that a lot of the money that goes into these animated features is the design of the characters and the backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they've already made, Cars, they've already invested all that. When they make Cars 2, they don't have to redo all that.
Yeah. That's why we also got Planes, and there was another one. We had, like, Planes 2 and 3 as well, before we even got Cars 3.
Rescue planes? I don't
Yeah.
know. Fire and rescue.
See, I heard it was because out of all the Pixar movies, Cars had sold the most toys.
Oh, really?
And so, literally, the Cars franchise is just to make money off toys. So, but, I mean, I can understand that one, too. Basically, I mean, because all the Pixar movies, like, overlap at one point or another in at least a design.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look at Finding Dory. That one was, I mean, they already had the template basically from the first one and didn't have to do a whole lot different for that. Yeah. So, either way, super stoked. Josh, what have you got next?
Well, I just Googled 2018 movies and it brought up a bunch of stuff. Do you want to go over just what we're excited about, or should we go by each one and give it thumbs up, thumbs down?
Just do thumbs up, thumbs down.
Infinity War. I'll go to that.
Yep.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Yes.
Double, quadruple. I love Jurassic Park.
I love dinosaurs. I love Star Wars too, but I like Star-Lord, aka Chris Pratt. I can't even say his name right now. My bad. Anyways, he is amazing. And I also heard that a lot of people's criticism of the first... Jeff Goldblum comes back.
Oh my god.
He's gold. Everything he touches is gold. But
take all my money.
Something a lot of people criticize. The first one, the new Jurassic World was there was no animatronic dinosaurs. It was all CGI. And they were like, oh, it doesn't look good. Well,
give us old technology.
For all of you complaining about that, in Jurassic World, there is animatronics again. So, jog on. Go, Jean. So, alright, moving on. Next one.
Han Solo. Or Solo, A Star Wars Story. Who is playing him?
I can't remember his name, but he was not...
He's not Piss Crat, that's for sure. So
he was not everyone's first pick, I can tell you that much.
Black Panther, we've established.
Yes.
That movie, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Deadpool 2.
Yes! 2 thumbs.
12 strong.
I don't know what that is, so meh.
It's soldier movie.
Oh,
the horse.
I can do without it.
Horse people. A Wrinkle in Time.
Yes. Yes.
I know nothing about it. Saw the trailer. Don't think I care, but
It was a kid's book I read way back when. It had a movie, and the movie was not good. But yes, I will see this.
I've heard other people singing its praises, so I'm kind of going from indifferent kind of up towards maybe.
I'll take you. It's fine.
Sicario 2. I like the first one.
I never saw Sicario 1, so indifferent.
Ready Player One looks pretty cool.
Yes, I will go see that. That looks interesting.
Incredibles 2.
Yes. Oh, boo you.
Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes.
I'll check that out. I like the first one.
First one was good.
I don't know what A Star Is Born is.
Nope, me neither.
New Mutants.
Yes. A superhero movie with horror themes? Like, give it to me, please.
Mortal Engines.
No.
We might skip some of these. Mamma Mia.
I'm gonna get dragged to that.
Pacific Rim.
Yes!
I was pleasantly surprised by the first one.
That first one was so good.
Venom.
Yes!
Maze Runner. Didn't see the second one.
I still need to see the second one. I liked the first one, so I'll give it this.
First one was okay. Ocean's 8. I've seen all the Oceans.
I will see it. I'm interested. Well, notice how they went from 8, even though Ocean's 11, they're setting it up for a new trilogy of Oceans movies. So I'll go see it because I enjoy those movies.
Tomb Raider.
Yes.
That looks interesting. Never played any of the games or anything.
The games are the new games are really, really, really good.
The Spy Who Dumped Me. I'm gonna go with this for now.
I am too, cause
Aquaman.
Yes.
Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. I had no clue this was even happening.
I don't know how you didn't.
How.
Like, how have you not? Like, yes. The first one was great.
Mary Poppins Returns.
Yeah, that's the reboot with Julia Roberts. I'll go see it.
Ooh, Dark Phoenix.
Yes, the new X-Men. I will go see that because I liked the last one that came out. I can't remember what it was. There's so many X-Men movies.
Age of...
Nope.
Apocalypse.
It was X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay. Mission Impossible 6.
Yeah, please, let him die. Let him die.
Anything Tom Cruise. Rampage. I don't know what
Oh
to think
my
about
gosh, so I'm somewhat interested. So I'll give it this. I'll give it a somewhere between yes and maybe. Because I love that little arcade game. I'm interested to see what Dwayne Johnson's doing. Because I enjoy Dwayne Johnson.
How do you pull that off?
I don't either, but it's Dwayne Johnson. He's enjoyable. Hotel Transylvania 3. Yeah, I'll go see that. I like those movies. I did not like the second one as much as the first, but I'll go see that.
Another 50 Shades, another Tyler Perry, another Insidious.
Oh, yes. I'm going to go see that for my birthday because I'm really super interested in that. And then Wreck-It Ralph 2.
I liked Wreck-It Ralph.
I will go see Wreck-It Ralph 2.
That was one of the few Pixar ones that I checked out. Day of the Dead Bloodline. Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yes. More Spider-Man stuff. Yes, please.
We're skipping a bunch of these. Yeah.
Wait, what was that last one?
Kind of bottom of the barrel at the end of the list. Holmes and Watson.
Oh, it's a comedy with...
John C. Reilly?
John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell.
Oh.
Maybe?
My favorite Will Ferrell movies are the ones where they team up.
Don't get me wrong, I love both of them. I mean, Step Brothers is phenomenal, but I don't know, and that also, but I don't know anything about that other than it's Sherlock Holmes and Watson. Maybe? I'll probably see
this
it.
For now.
If there's nothing else out that weekend, yeah, I'll probably go see it. Nothing else of interest, I guess, so. And that is our year in review. Josh, is there any video games you're looking forward to this year, or can you think of any? Do you know of any?
Just Red Dead 2.
Red Dead 2.
Wizards Unite.
Okay.
Accio new video games.
So pretty much that is our list and what we're excited for to come. And this next year,
I'm looking forward to Trump not being our president.
We're another year closer.
I would like to feel that our environment and economy is safe.
It'll never be. It's fine, though. Next year is a new year.
I like the illusion that it's safe, though. There's no more illusion.
I'll take that, but this year is a new year to try different things. We're going to try and do different things. I know we're going to try to be better about putting up videos of content of things right after they come out.
Some new topics too, hopefully.
Yes, some new areas. Going to go out into music, I believe, a little more music stuff.
Whatever we want to do.
We're going to talk about butts. And
all kinds of butts.
and furry walls and things. Probably talk about fingerboards and
Justice League.
Taco John's.
Batman.
So, I'm gonna have some new stuff hopefully and be a little more consistent. So, thanks for watching. Drive safe, make good choices.
Happy New Year.
And a happy new year. God bless us, everyone.